Yet again, Cathar Love number 78. The Cathar Revolution. Normally when we think of revolutions, we think of rivers of blood, which has happened in so many cases. But with the Cathar Revolution, rather than rivers of blood, to be more like islands of love. Because love is what it's all about. And really, people throughout the world, it doesn't matter what country, more and more people are simply just looking for goodness. Goodness within themselves, within their family, within their social system, within their political system. They're looking for decent people doing a decent thing, caring and sharing. There's so many people just sick of power, the abuse of power, police power, we see it happening, military power, might, the might of countries subjugating other countries. People are tired of war. They're tired of seeing the masses of people who are made refugees because of the war. You have war, you're going to have refugees. You stop having wars, you stop having refugees. It's a fairly simple equation. But a Cathar revolution is really because Catharism, as against any religion that I'm aware of, has a purity. It has no inquisitions. It's got no killing fields. It's got nothing at all to be ashamed of. Now, people may not agree with a lot of its, some of its, the things that the Cathars were into. For instance, the Cathars were into you, about you and you understanding what's going on. They were not into children. They weren't against sex. Sex was natural, you know. Any sex is just normal like anything else. Eating, gambling, drinking, it was normal. And I mean, there was rat bags amongst the Cathars, just the same as anybody else. And the uneducated and some of the uneducated Cathar followers, the credente, if they saw a woman pregnant, oh yeah, you're carrying a demon, you know. Well, this is ridiculous because the Cathars didn't believe in devils and demons anyway. But you know, you've got to rack bags in any society, and so you know, a lot of people, no, we must have our family, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids. Well, seriously, the world is overpopulated. You know, we are destroying the world. I mean, just diverging for a second. I mean, I saw this statistic, and it shook me. They say we have wiped out 94% of the world's shark populations. Now the sharks are a predator, but they're there, and they keep the same as wolves, and as a predator keeps that particular wildlife under control, and so the sharks have a purpose as well. And of course they're killing them for the shark fin and for shark fin soup and so forth. And of course it's a bit of a joke because the shark, like being one of the larger fish, the shark fin is full of mercury and heavy metals and so forth, which accumulates in things like a tuna and the larger predatory fish. So those people who are celebrating with their shark fin are actually having a good dose of mercury and other heavy metals as well. So, such as life and karma and ignorance. So this Cathar revolution, and people have been waiting, it doesn't matter what religion, but trying to wait for goodness and love to come from a religion is like waiting for the Messiah. You know, it hasn't happened, and it's unlikely to do so in any time in the future, anytime soon. But Catharism is growing. I mean, there's a movie, I talked about it, there's various books coming out, there's novels, one by, been out for quite a while, Sophie Burnham, another one is The Jongleur by Sandra Gillimore, and these are novels. There's more and more people writing about the Cathars, there's more and more people discussing the Cathars, so it's happening. But I believe, for me, one of the, what you could say, is the anchors of Catharism is the equality of women. And this was the equality of women at the first millennium. Here we are at the second millennium, and women don't have equality. And it's not a matter of having a matriarchal society or a patriarchal society. It's a matter of us enjoying our equality, that male and female become the best they can become. I believe the world has already reached a turning point, and this is happening, certainly happening in Western cultures, but it's also happening even amongst the Muslim. There's far more and more Muslim women standing up for themselves, speaking out, standing up to the imams and mullahs. Of course, the Quran says, you know, men are superior to women. Okay, so we know that that's not a fact, but it's not just the Quran. We can look at the Hindu, the Code of Manu, and it just says, you know, women are always subservient to the male, from father, brother, whatever, and a woman must always be subjugated. We go to Confucianism in China. Confucius, sorry. Lao Tzu was the opposite. Lao Tzu was Taoist, and the Taoists were into women. For instance, their way of putting it was, you look at a fine stallion, but a mare, a female horse, is just as strong as a stallion, is just as powerful as a stallion, but that mare can also bear a family. So the mare is superior to the horse in that respect. So the mare is more capable and caring as well than a stallion. So this was the Taoist point of view. But Confucius said that 100 women weren't worth one man's testicle. Okay, it's an interesting way of putting it. But if we want to go to the West, and of course the West is and Christianity was based on, well, it was the Catholic Church at one time, and Saint Augustine said that a woman, if she doesn't have a baby every year, she's actually committing murder. So then that was pretty bad, and you had the Inquisition. And of course, well, we know they had a real down on women, and between the heretics and the witches, they reckon they managed to murder about 100,000 women. A little less, a few more. Who's going to argue? So, and you can go through countless instances of the church fathers being. Women are second class and should be subjugated, and even with the Protestant Reformation, when that arrived, Martin Luther, he said, what's some of the things he said? He said, women, girls mature faster than boys, because weeds always grow faster than a good crop, and something else. He said that if women suffer pain or they die in childbirth, well, that's the way it is. He said, because that's what they were here for, to suffer pain and be born in childbirth. One of the popes, getting closer to our period, and he said that women should suffer in childbirth, and the more they suffer, is the closer they bring themselves to the closer the bond is to the child. I don't know where he gets that logic from. When one particular doctor, he introduced chloroform to ease the pain of childbirth, and the Anglican Church in England, they were up in arms. They said, you can't do that, and they banned it. They said, no, women must have pain. Women in childbirth, it's in the Bible. So women have been set upon by all and sundry, by politicians, by churches, by this, and women in many cases have had enough, and they are turning, and it doesn't matter where it is or what it is. And so this Cathar revolution is also in line in many ways, or in parallel, and so there's a social revolution this way, because women are often more caring than men, not in every case, but in many cases, especially if they've raised a family. They know they know the situation about caring and caring for children. So this is happening. Now the other thing is a Cathar revolution. Is it going to be like a tsunami and major changes? No, not really. For the simple reason is, to become a Cathar, no one is born a Cathar. To become a Cathar, Gnostic Cathar, you have to make a decision, and you say, no, this is the direction I'm going to have. I'm going to be just, you don't have to be a Cathar for this, but I'm going to be a decent human being, and I'm aligning myself with goodness and caring and sharing, and living a full life. I'm having my so there's no guilt about sex or having a drink or gambling, as long as you're not hurting anybody and you're not doing anybody harm, and especially yourself. So it's a very livable philosophy. You know that you're going to be reincarnated, and as with your reincarnations, you're going to be both male and female. Again, we have this equality. You may be more often male than female. Others may be more often female than male. Be as it may. So there is this social upheaval, this social revolution happening now. And the Cathars weren't into, as I said before, they weren't into having children. And really, the world cannot sustain our rate of population, our decimation of the planet. We all know about that. We don't need to talk about that. But one of the basics of this is we simply have too many people on the planet, too many to feed, and we have to destroy this. And there is a destruction of the planet in trying to do this. Cathars, or Catharism, is about you, and it's about you becoming the best that you can be. Of course, if you're a mother and you're a father, that means looking after your children. But also takes the responsibility of not just flooding the place. There's so many children without anybody that to look after them. And so we also need to look after the people who are already born, the orphans, and there's so many of them in so many different countries. We all have a responsibility towards these people. And this is Catharism. The other thing about Catharism is that because a person literally has to become a Cathar, and to become a Cathar means you need to be aware of it, you need knowledge of it, you need to have read some books on it, or you need to read something that's influenced you to make that change. It means that you have had to think about it, you've had to have some critical thinking about this in order for you to make this change. So, if we have a person who has read, we'll say, a number of books on the subject, a person who has thought about this, a person who has listened to people speak or discussions on the subject, and that person has come through critical thinking, has come to a decision and said, no, I'm taking that Gnostic Cathar path. I'm going to see where this leads, and I feel that this is the direction that I should be taking. So for a person to be a reader and a thinker and so forth, already you're probably discounted 80% of the world's population. So you're stuck within this, not that those people don't read, but these people are going to stay where they are, and these people are not going to change from their belief system, whether whatever religion or no religion, whatever it happens to be. Now, there is that group that are prepared to change and will change, and this is those who've got that spark of revolution, that rebellion in them, and that propels them to say, I believe that I can make myself and the world a better place by my following the Cathar or Gnostic path. So it's a very, very small area. Catharism is not very contagious. It's not like some of the viruses that float or that zip around. It can affect this one, affect this one. It affects very few. And the people that it does affect are those who obviously have acquired the knowledge and to convince themselves that they want to go down this path. But it is happening, and more and more people. If I spoke to people 10 years ago when I mentioned Cathars, I mean, I may as well be talking to a wall or a post, but I can go pretty much anywhere now and just say, oh, have you heard of Cathars? Oh, yes, I don't know much about them, but I have heard of them. So there is this change going on, and it's a change for the better. The world is not going to be a lesser place because of the re-advent of Catharism arising once again and being a potent force within the belief systems of the world. So already the revolution is happening. There's a Cathar revolution, and we're not going to see rivers of blood, but we are going to see here and there these small islands and groups of people of love, maybe people getting together somewhat. But the Catharism is something, it's not within a church, it's within yourself, it's anywhere. Catharism doesn't need rituals, it doesn't need churches, it doesn't need edifices. It exists sufficient of itself. So if this happens to be the path that you happen to decide that you would like to meander down that path, travel along and test its waters, well then I wish you all the best on your journey, and I'm sure it'll be an eventful one. Bye for now.